Hi, I'm Amanda, and you're watching Booked with Amanda. I'm here to talk books with you. I've decided instead of doing a month-long wrap-up every month to do a wrap-up of the last 10 books I've read. Some months I'm reading a crazy amount, some months not so much. So for the foreseeable future, we're going to do 10 books at a time and see how that goes. All right, so starting off the month, um, the first book I read was Jaws by Peter Benchley. And Jaws is basically about a great white shark who terrorizes a small tourist town in the United States, the East Coast, and basically it's their struggle to try and catch this gigantic shark who is killing people. This was part of my Pop Sugar Reading Challenge for this year, and that is a past challenge. I decided to read a book that was made into a movie that I have already watched. So I've seen Jaws a long time ago. I finally picked this up. I did give it a 4-star, so it was actually quite good. If you want to see a little bit more on my reviews of these books, you can check my GOODREADS. I do rate everything, and I do write a lot of reviews as well. Okay, so next I read the rest of the Bot Diaries. That series starts with All Systems Red, which I did read earlier this year, and the second book is Artificial Condition. That is by Martha Wells, and that I gave a 5-star to. It's about Murderbot teaming up with a research vessel who is named Art, and I'm not going to tell you what that stands for because it's funny and you should read the book, but she heads to a mining facility because she wants to investigate why she had gone rogue a little while ago and they had reset her. She basically went rogue and killed a bunch of people. So she's going back to the start of this to find out basically what happened and whether or not it was her fault. The next book in the series, which is also the next book I read, that's Rogue Protocol, and by Martha Wells. Again, 5 stars for this one also. This one, she heads to a deserted terraforming facility. She joins up with some humans. They hire her as a security consultant, and she goes to investigate the company who she believes is responsible for what happened to her and to the mining facility. That's the company that she was built by, basically. The next book, the last book in the diaries, is Exit Strategy, and that's by Martha Wells. 5-star as well for that one. And this one, she heads back home because the only human that she's ever cared about as much as she can has been captured by the corporation she's been looking into this whole time, and she is going back home to rescue her human friend. So this whole series is fantastic sci-fi. They're novellas, so they are about 150-ish pages, but they are fantastic. They read like a novel. I wanted more, and not because I felt shortchanged, but the storylines were amazing, and I love Murderbot. She is my, she is basically the robot version of me. She wants to sit at home, not interact with humans. She wants to read her books, watch her TV shows, you know. So if you have the time, it starts with All Systems Red. You should read the 4 books. Martha Wells is supposed to be coming out with a full novel for Murderbot, and that's, I think, expected in 2020. So I'm going to keep my eyes out for that, but check these out while you're waiting. Next I read We Should All Be Feminist by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and I gave that a 5-star. Basically, I think it was originally a TED Talk she did, possibly, but it's her take on feminism, and she gives examples of her experiences in Nigeria and also in the United States. It was really, she's very humorous, but not over the top. Kind of a subtle, maybe a little sarcastic humorous, which I did enjoy. I love her writing. I read Americana earlier this year, and I picked this one up because it is just a short, I think, 50 or 60 pages, but it is fantastic. And it does apply to both males and females. It actually starts off with her talking about her male friend who called her a feminist in a negative way. So I definitely recommend checking out. It's very quick, so it doesn't hurt. Next, we have Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton that I gave a 5-star to. And if you don't know the story of Jurassic Park, basically a rich old guy decides to, take genetics and remake dinosaurs into our world, and he wants to build a theme park for it. And then obviously things go crazy and awry and chaos ensues. So that is definitely a 5-star book. It is action-packed, it is scientific, though I'm not sure how accurate, but still, it was really interesting to read. Next, I read The Lost World, Jurassic Park, Michael Crichton. That one I only gave 3.25 stars to. And that one is based off of a second island owned by the old guy and the company. And basically, one of the colleagues of a character from the first book goes to this island to investigate. And then they go and find him on the island, and they're basically trying to rescue him, bring him back, and he just wants to research these dinosaurs. Basically, the second island is the factory where the dinosaurs were created for Jurassic Park. So I will have a longer review on Jurassic Park and The Lost World coming up. Or maybe I've released it already. I don't think so. I'm going to release this first, I think. But definitely, I do recommend Jurassic Park. Maybe not The Lost World, but we'll talk about that later. Next, I read Another Brooklyn by Jacqueline Woodson that I gave a 4-star to. And that's basically a coming-of-age story. There's 4 girls growing up in Brooklyn in the 70s and basically what that entails. So, I think it starts off there maybe like preteen or 9-10 or something like that, and right through to adulthood, to 18. So I think this is a very good book for maybe teenage girls. I mean, it was really a good read. Jacqueline Woodson's a really good writer, but it is a younger geared book. I didn't mind to do like some young adult stuff, so it's not a big deal, but it definitely appeals more to a similar age bracket as these girls are. So next we have Coraline by Neil Gaiman that I gave 4 stars to. I actually listened to the audiobook because it had some original music in it, which I really wanted to hear. Kind of just little snippets of music, but it was actually pretty cool. And Coraline is basically about a girl. Her parents and her move into this house, this old house. She finds a door, and that door leads to another world. And in that other world, there's another mother and another father. And basically, at first, everything looks exactly how Coraline wants it. She's treated the way she wants to be treated. It's perfect. And then things start to seem not so perfect. And she has to question why the other mother and father are doing this, and things are not as they seem. So I have seen this movie. I wanted to read the book. The book was really good. The audiobook was really good, really engaging. I enjoyed it very much. I highly recommend if you're looking for something, especially for a preteen or early teen. I mean, this book was actually really, really good and really creepy. Surprisingly creepy for a young book. And finally, we have Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. This was a reread. I decided to reread it. I haven't read it in 10 years. And I decided to reread it. Twilight is not the greatest book. I gave it a 4 stars, but it's really not that great of a book. The writing's not fantastic. The characters aren't fantastic. The story is not fantastic, but it is my guilty pleasure. We all have them. Don't judge. I'm sure you don't want to share yours, but I'm going to share mine. So basically, vampires, falling in love with humans. It's supposed to be a take on Romeo and Juliet, which I guess it kind of is, in a way. But if you're a teenage girl or a young adult, maybe read it, but take it with a grain of salt because the relationship's not the healthiest. But still, guilty pleasure. So basically in the first 2 weeks of February, so February, it ends up being February around 5th to February 16th is what these books were finished on. And I read about 2,566 pages. That works out to around 213 pages per day. Throughout this wrap-up, I had 5 stars, 4 stars, and 1 3-star. So this wrap-up, full of incredible books. I recommend all of them to you. I think mostly sci-fi, some female-driven, and then a child book. There we go. And 1 horror, I guess. Although Jurassic Park, I guess, could be horror too. So a decent variety, I guess. Well, that's it for today. I'm going to wrap this up before it gets too long. If you've read any of these, love any of these, let me know down below. Also, if you have any recommendations similar to these books, especially similar to the Bot Diaries or even Jurassic Park, I'm really feeling that sci-fi, but maybe lightish. But, well, no, Bot's not too light. But anyways, sci-fi, but not too alien-y. I like human-y sci-fi or like machinery sci-fi. Recommend it because I am in a reading slump the last handful of days because I just want to read sci-fi and I don't really have anything on my shelves. So recommend something if you have it below, and subscribe if you want to see more from me. If not, then come back anyway because maybe I'll surprise you with my next video. Anyway, thanks for watching everybody, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.